It was a quiet Thursday morning when Daniel's old pickup truck crumbled down the tree-lined road of the wealthy Northbridge Estates, a neighborhood so upscale it seemed almost disconnected from the real world. Gated mansions, high-end security systems, luxury cars that gleamed like diamonds in the sun. And there was Daniel Lay, a rugged single dad in worn-out jeans, his work boots caked with dried concrete from yesterday's job, pulling up in front of house number 78. Daniel had been hired to repair a fence, that's all. A simple, straightforward job. He wasn't the kind of man who looked for handouts or drama. He believed in showing up, working hard, and going home to his 5-year-old daughter, Emily's entire world. He parked outside the property and double-checked the address on the work order. 78 Northbridge Circle. They install and reinforce cedar wood panels. Paid upon completion. The name at the bottom read Amelia Wexler. Daniel didn't know who she was. He didn't care. She was just another client, another job, another chance to earn money to keep Emily fed and clothed. He stepped out of the truck, tools in hand, when the massive double front door opened. A young boy, no more than 6, stood on the porch. His blonde hair was perfectly brushed. His blue sweater looked expensive. He held a teddy bear tightly to his chest and blinked up at Daniel. Before Daniel could say anything, a woman's voice rang out from inside. "Ethan, I told you to stay inside." The woman appeared in the doorway, tall, elegant, and perfectly composed in a crisp white blouse and beige slacks. Her hair was tied back in a neat bun. Her face wore the kind of tiredness that came from managing too much for too long. "I'm Daniel," he said, extending his hand. "Here to fix the fence?" "Yes, I'm Amelia Wexler." "Thank you for coming," she replied briskly, shaking his hand with a fleeting glance before turning her attention back to the child. "Ethan, go inside now. Mommy has to take a call." The little boy looked at Daniel again, whispered something into his teddy bear's ear, and slowly walked back into the house. Daniel headed around back, surveying the fence that bordered the edge of the enormous backyard. A portion of it had collapsed, probably from a storm. It would take most of the day to rebuild. He got to work, hammering, sawing, focusing entirely on the task. But as he worked, he noticed something odd. Every so often, Ethan would appear by the sliding glass door, watching him silently. He never came out, just stared. And once, Daniel thought he saw the boy holding the teddy bear up to the glass, as if it too were watching. Daniel shrugged it off. Kids were curious. But later, as he knelt down near the hedges to fit a post, he heard something, a faint whisper, coming from just beyond the bush. He paused. There it was again. He's not like the others, Mr. Bear. Daniel's brows furrowed. He quietly stepped closer, peering through the hedge. And there was Ethan, kneeling in the grass, teddy bear clutched tight. His eyes were downcast, and his lips were pressed close to the bear's ear as if telling a secret. He didn't yell. He smiled. Maybe he's not scary like the rest. Daniel froze. What was this kid talking about? Then Ethan looked up and saw him. For a split second, the boy's eyes widened like he'd been caught doing something forbidden. Daniel smiled gently, trying not to spook him. "You okay, buddy?" Ethan nodded slowly. "Yeah, just a broken bar talking to Mr. Bear." Daniel chuckled softly. "He seems like a good listener." Ethan hugged the bear tighter. "He's the only one I talk to when mommy's on the phone, or crying." Daniel's smile faded. "That was unexpected." "You want to help me with the fence?" he asked, hoping to shift the mood. Ethan looked around nervously. "I'm not supposed to. Mommy says I shouldn't be outside." "I won't tell if you won't." Daniel winked. Ethan giggled and crept forward. Daniel handed him a measuring tape and started explaining how the fence worked, letting the boy hold a few pieces of wood, showing him how the level tool worked. For the first time, Ethan seemed a broken bar alive. Excited. Hours passed, and as the sun moved overhead, Amelia came out, holding her phone to her ear. "Ethan, inside, now." The boy jumped. "I'm sorry, Mommy," he shouted and ran back toward the house, dropping the tape measure in his rush. Amelia turned to Daniel. Her expression was polite, but stiff. "I appreciate you trying to be kind, but please don't encourage him to linger outside. Broken bar, he has boundaries." Daniel wanted to ask more, but it wasn't his place. "Sure thing, he said simply. The rest of the day passed quietly. Daniel finished the fence, cleaned up, and went to the door to inform Amelia. As she came out to inspect the work, Ethan peeked again from a window. This time he mouthed something. Daniel couldn't hear it, but it looked like, "Help us." That night, Daniel couldn't sleep. The boy's words to the teddy bear echoed in his mind. He's not scary like the rest. What had that meant? Was there someone in the boy's life who was scary? The next morning, Daniel dropped Emily off at preschool. But as he sat in his truck, something gnawed at him. He turned the key and drove back to Northbridge. This wasn't about a fence anymore. He pulled up outside house number 78, sat there. Then he saw something. Amelia was rushing to her car, phone pressed to her ear, briefcase swinging. The garage door was still closing behind her. She didn't see Daniel. She sped off, and in a broken bar the front door creaked open. Ethan stood there, barefoot, holding Mr. Bear. Daniel got out and walked up. "Hey, buddy, where's your mom?" "She had to go to the city meetings. She always forgets her keys," he said, holding up a small house key on a ribbon. "She leaves you alone?" Daniel asked, shocked. Ethan shrugged. "She says the cameras will tell her if anything bad happens, but I don't like being alone." Daniel looked around. "Do you want to come sit in the truck for a while? I'll call someone, maybe your uncle, grandparents." Ethan's face dropped. "There's no one, just mommy and the men that yell at her on the phone." Daniel felt something twist in his chest. This kid was living in a mansion yet surrounded by emptiness. Ethan climbed into the passenger seat, holding Mr. Bear tightly. "I don't like the men in suits," he whispered. "They make mommy cry. They say she's going to lose everything." Daniel's heart sank. This was more than just loneliness. This was a child caught in the whirlwind of an adult world, a world collapsing behind the polished surface. Suddenly, Ethan reached into the teddy bear's back. Daniel blinked in surprise as the boy pulled out a tiny recorder, a voice memo device stitched inside. "I talked to Mr. Bear in Broken Bar, but he remembers," Ethan said. He pressed a button. A small voice crackled. "Please don't take my mommy's house. She works so hard. I can be good, I promise." Daniel felt his throat tighten. This wasn't pretend. This was a cry for help. That evening, Daniel didn't go straight home. Instead, he went to the community center, where he knew a woman named Carol worked, a former counselor and volunteer advocate for children. He told her everything, not just about the recorder, but the loneliness, the whispers, the neglect. Carol promised to look into it, and within 2 days, a child welfare official came by house 78A just to check in. Daniel was scared. He didn't want to get Amelia in trouble, but he couldn't ignore the signs. When the caseworker returned to her car, she gave Daniel a simple nod, a silent thank you. 2 weeks later, Daniel was at the local grocery store when someone called his name. He turned and saw Amelia, but she looked a broken bar different, softer. Her hair was down, her eyes less cold. She walked up and took a deep breath. "Thank you," she said, "for caring, for noticing, for not walking away." Daniel nodded. "How's Ethan?" She smiled faintly. "Better. He's seeing a counselor now." The broken bar working fewer hours, trying to be home more. There was a pause. "I thought I was doing it all for him," she admitted, "but I was never really with him. I didn't even realize how lonely he was until someone outside actually listened." Daniel nodded slowly. "Kids a broken bar, they tell their truth in whispers." She smiled. "He talks about you, says you're the only one who ever let him build something." Daniel chuckled. "He's got a good eye for structure." They stood there for a moment, and then Ethan came running down the aisle, grinning wide, holding a bag of cookies. He stopped short when he saw Daniel, then ran into his arms. Daniel knelt down, hugging him tight. "I still got Mr. Bear," the boy whispered. "I hope he's still remembering everything." Daniel whispered back. "He is, but I don't have to whisper sad stuff anymore." Daniel looked at Amelia, who wiped a tear away. "Sometimes life isn't about fixing fences. It's about listening through the cracks." If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Flekar and Inspire. And remember, sometimes the smallest voices say the most powerful things. We just have to listen. See you in the next story.